Welcome back to the Gibbs Spotlight. I'm Camille Germany, assistant to the directors at the Gibbs College of Architecture. Joining me today is Regional and City Planning alum Michael Southard. Michael received his master's degree in Regional and City Planning from OU in 1993. He is currently the Economic Development Director for the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. For over 28 years, he has worked to build better communities across Oklahoma, including in Oklahoma City, Muskogee, Shawnee, and Ada. Michael, thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and thanks for asking. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm so glad you're here. I wonder if you could tell me about your journey from being an undergraduate at OU to deciding to get your master's degree in regional and city planning, and why you chose the Gibbs College of Architecture for your graduate degree.
Well, I was an undergraduate at OU in public administration, and I saw an opportunity to further my academic career and specialize a little bit more in city planning. And quickly, I learned that the regional city planning program at OU is one of the oldest graduate programs west of the Mississippi River, and we have a lot of prestigious graduates across the country. So it's a very, very proud program. How I got into planning is kind of a funny story. I, like many undergraduates, I wasn't aware of city planning, and I had taken the LSAT the LSAT, and I was going to go to law school, and happened to be at the Mont in Norman one weekend, and ran into a young lady, Trudy Bloodworth, who was a year ahead of me in undergraduate in public administration, and she had asked what I'm doing. I told her planning to go to law school next year. I don't know where at the time. And she goes, "Mike, we don't need any more attorneys. We have way too many attorneys. You need to be a city planner. Yeah, this city planner program, it's really cool. You need to look at it." So and I did, and it interests me as far as some of the programs. It kind of, the funny story is, as I jumped into the planning profession into the deep end early in my career, working Muskogee as the community development director after 3 years. Trudy is now an attorney. So here she graduated, moved off to Memphis, and now she's an attorney. So it's kind of a funny story as far as how things ended up.
That is a little bit ironic.
Yeah, and most people think, oh, well, hey, a girl talked you into it, or we weren't dating. We were just friends, and usually it's the girlfriend talks the guy into something.
Could you talk a little bit about a recent project you've worked on for the Choctaw Nation?
Well, when I was hired in October of 2017, we were in the process, or at the very beginning of the process, of creating a regional economic development organization that serves our territory. The Choctaw Nation territory is a 10.5 county area in far southeast Oklahoma, Poteau to Durant, Idabel to McAllister. So it serves a large area, and what my boss and leadership had found is that we had a lot of communities that just were not even responding. We're not really in the game as far as trying to recruit companies. So we said, we will take the lead. We will help. So in the first year working in this position, kind of identified some of the needs. We went through a strategic planning process. We launched last May, in May of 2019, we launched a regional website, which is the first one that had been done, a regional economic development website. I had not been told, but it was a goal, a 5-year goal, and that no one had really taken the lead on. And I jumped in, said, "Here's what we need to do. I'll take lead." We got it finished. Ended up winning an award for it. It's www.growchoctaw.com. We also, in part of our external and internal marketing process or program, I wanted to create a community profile. A lot of the chambers, in economic development organizations will do an annual report because some of that includes your board, a board of directors and financials. We're not really that way. All of our funding for the economic development activities at the regional level is coming from gaming proceeds. So all of my salary, all of my activities are coming from tribal funds where the communities are not having to pay anything. We put this profile together and won several international awards, including Best of Show at the Southern Economic Development Council. No one in Oklahoma has ever won that award. It's been really cool seeing how we've been able to progress very quickly. My previous organization that I was the CEO for, we had won a couple of awards, including a gold award with IEDC for our annual report. But this one is a lot more special because it's a completely new venture. First thing that we've ever done. I told the CEO for SEDC, Southern Economic Development Council, when I took this position, that my goal is to win awards and to create basically the go-to organization in the country for economic development. And in a very quick amount of time, we've started doing that. So people now recognize us for what we're doing, which had never been done before.
That's amazing. And it sounds like a lot of eyes are on you guys to be trendsetters in this.
And we did it internally. So all of our internal staff, a lot of people will pay someone $20,000, $30,000 to go and do an annual report, prepare a community profile, whatever it might be. And we used our marketing team, which predominantly they all do stuff for gaming. They're doing the advertisements and things for the various commercial enterprises within the tribe. So it was a lot of fun for them as well because they got to see different aspects. They really don't do things on behalf of the communities. They're the hot week of slots or something is their advertisement for the week. So it was a lot of fun for all parties involved.
Yeah, that's great. There's been a lot of talk in the media right now about the economy during COVID-19. What do you make of the economic effects of the pandemic in Southeast Oklahoma? And what are some ways that the organization and the website will help with the region's economic development?
Yeah, this is an area that has, we get invitations, the economic development professionals through our various organizations get invitations to podcasts almost on a weekly basis, trying to figure out what happens next. If I was to put two words to your questions, I'd say disruption and pivot. Disruption in that there are the different aspects of economic development, being tourism, industrial attraction, business retention, expansion, entrepreneurship, small business. So you have a lot of different aspects, but the tourism industry, the hospitality and leisure industry basically fell off the cliff in March. They're starting to come back, and that's nationwide. The tribes in Oklahoma shut down for almost 3 months. The gaming, so the casinos, the resorts are all closed. So you had an entire industry that basically went dark for 3 months. And, restaurants were closed, everything, complete disruption of the entire industry. Trade shows, if you do industrial attraction, you're going to trade shows, talking to industries, you're doing company visits. All of those, are canceled. The way that we interact with people, economic development is a very person-to-person interaction. It's a relational marketing. So how is that going to? What will that look like in the future? Nobody knows at the moment. We aren't going to be shaking hands. We're not going to be able to be close. I don't know that I would want to go to a trade show right now because you cannot social distance when you have 30, 40,000 people at a trade show talking to people. So how that's going to look in the future is up in the air. We don't know. Attending conferences. We've been internally within the Choctaw Nation, my team, we've done a lot more, professional development and talking with the CEO for the International Economic Development Council. They had told me a couple of weeks ago on a trade show that they've seen an uptick. They went to virtual training, and they've actually seen an increase in attendance. Where previously I would have to go to Buffalo, New York to go to XYZ class or to wherever it is. And it's opened up opportunities. So apparently other organizations are also doing that. As far as the pivot side, we're having to, because we're not, seeing companies actively doing site visits. Coming in as far as industrial attraction, which in most economic development organizations, you're talking 60 to 70% of their time is spent on trying to attract other companies. That's the whole reason that we have a website. You market regionally, sell local. But if companies are not coming, so we're having to look at maybe doing more virtual site visits. And then we're also having to maybe concentrate a little bit more on our existing companies, which on our website, we, like many others, had created a COVID-19 landing page, trying to keep information in front of people the best we can. Part of our group is also our Choctaw Small Business Development, and they have around 600 or 700 clients that they work with on a regular basis. Where throughout our territory, we call them Choctawpreneurs, a play on word for entrepreneur. So they work with the Choctawpreneurs. They started making calls on them, seeing what's going on, see if there are ways that we can help further that relationship, where it's not necessarily a marketing visit, but it's how can I help you? What are programs that what will work? We've held companies' hands when they're making SBA loans, the new programs that were rolled out. The State Department of Commerce has a program to help businesses. So we're trying to get that information to the companies. Most of them are small, maybe one to three employees, or it could even be a hobbypreneur. Someone working, full-time somewhere else, and then they're, doing something in the evening to make a little extra money. So we've really had to take a hard look, and we'll be concentrating a lot more on our existing companies. But I think you would see that in most other economic development organizations because, it's I don't know when we're going to be traveling again. And that's where a lot of our time typically would be concentrated.
Yeah, sure. How does your education and work in the planning industry aid in the growth and development of the community?
Well, I would say that my planning background, gives, from an educational perspective, gives me a broader perspective or a broader understanding on topics that if I had a business degree or if I came into economic development from a banker, I think I understand the different, the underlining issues. It allows, my background allows me to quickly assess a situation and identify connections or relationships that others might. If I was a pure economic developer, I may not see the relationships between job creation and housing or even placemaking. In the current environment in 2020, housing, neighborhood development, downtown revitalization, education and training, social justice, and others are every bit of an economic development influencer or a decision making influencer than if infrastructure such as rail, water, or incentives. But having that understanding, economic development is actually there's only one school that has a master's in economic development, and that's Southern Miss. But there are concentrations in planning, and I see a lot of planners that are in the economic development field or even the site selection field, which is a complementary, more of the private sector job. But I think that the one aspect there, I would say that I have a better understanding, so that I really use it on a daily basis. Go back to what professors said, or gives me a better understanding also on some of the econometric models, where I can just use it as a subscription to EMSI or to Statebook or some of the others. I understand how you determine what the multipliers are. I understand what a shift share or and some of the other terms, nomenclature that's used on the website, where if I didn't have to actually use pen and paper back in graduate school to figure out what the multiplier was for this NAICS code in this county, I would just basically be using it blindly.
Yeah. It's kind of an all-encompassing degree that really gives you the background you need.
Yeah, it's very well-rounded. I've likened it, the Master's Regional City Planning degree, graduate degree, to an MBA minus the marketing. Because a lot of the courses are very similar, because you have management courses, you have even accounting. And undergraduate, we did not have a public accounting degree or a course. The Master's in Public Administration students were coming and doing our public accounting class that was required, and for the MRCP program. So, I think it's very similar. It's very complementary, or very similar to an MBA. Yeah.
Well, that's neat. So, what's your favorite thing about being a planner?
It's that question is asked of me quite a bit, and my answer, and my wife would tell you. I hope that you can see and or hear, from my voice. I absolutely love getting paid to do my hobby. If that's what I've told my children. Find that thing that is a true passion for you and that you can make a living at, and you will be happy. I enjoy going to work every day. I enjoy, trying to solve problems, trying to help communities. Over my career, which, going on 30 years now, I've been able to, build homes in areas that no one was building homes. I have been able to, do some beautification efforts in a community that, for 10 or 15 years have been wanting to do it, but no one had ever done it. Now creating an entity that no one in the country has anything similar. So I truly, I'm not going to say, because I don't want someone to not pay me, but I don't care what I'm getting paid. I mean, this truly is a passion. This is my hobby, and that I just happen to be able to make a career out of. I love the fact that I'm able to give back and improve the lives of individuals. I'm truly blessed to have been able to do what I've done.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. So what would you want other alumni and aspiring planners to take away from your work?
I would say and I go back and talk to the graduates, the graduates, master students in some classes, about once a semester. I've been asked to come back, and what I tell them and what I tell anybody is, be willing to cut your own path. Don't do what everyone else is doing just because that's what everyone's done. Very seldom will anyone find solutions in the paths that people have walked before them. And be an agent of change, and take a chance. I have a very entrepreneurial spirit where I try and address a problem from all different angles and do the research and find out how. Here are like 5 best practices, and there's a term that I've heard recently: instead of best practice, try and do the next practice. So don't just do what everyone else has been doing. Find that next best way to do it. And as I stated a second ago, be passionate about what you're doing, about your service. So many economic developers, so many city planners, and burn out. I believe I was starting to burn out early in my career when I was community development director in Muskogee. And Art Chapman, who is another OU graduate, he was in Overland, Kansas, and I happened to meet him at an American Planning Association leadership event. And I told him that, this job is just getting to me, that it's, the weight on my shoulders, it's just getting to me that I didn't think I could do this for much longer. And this is 2 or 3 years, it's 4 or 5 years after graduate school. And he told me, Mike, you've got to just learn to throw it out the window on your way home, that you don't vote. The planning commission and city council votes, the board of directors vote. My job is to present, to advocate, and to research. And if they don't vote the way that I am recommending, there are a lot of different contributing factors. And that's what was really beating me down, was that I would recommend something or say, here's what the code said, here's what we need to be doing, and they would vote against the recommendation. And, it's either there's something else that maybe, one of the things as an undergraduate in public administration, they taught us, with the laws. You can either obey the law, disobey the law, or change the law. And everyone forgets the change the law portion. If that regulation is not what the current elected officials are wanting, then and they vote no, we're not going to do that. Well, maybe changing it is the appropriate path. But that's the big thing that I've been able to get out of my career, and what's allowed me to do this for 30 years with without burning out.
Yeah, that's important. So you've accomplished so much already. What do you see yourself doing in the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, prior to March, I would have been able to give you, hey, in 5 years, this is what my plan is. In 10 years, here's where I think everything would be. But everything from with the economic downturn and with COVID, everything seems to be squished. Where site selection projects that may have taken 9 months are now taking 6. Strategic plans that we're doing within the tribe that were 5 and 10 year plans are now 1 and 3 year plans. But where I kind of still see myself going is in 5 years, 10 years, as I approach the end of my career, still leading a regional economic development organization that's focused on a common vision, is recognized across the United States as a trendsetter. Whether that's the Choctaw Nation or somewhere else, I don't know. I don't have plans. I've told people that in my profession that I think I may have the best economic development job in the country, in that I don't have to worry about the political will and maneuvering. That I get to be above it, but I get to help communities at a regional level and have a lot of needs out there. I expect my team, whoever it is, to be successful. I expect high quality outputs and products. I hold myself to that, and then I want my employees and my staff to also have those same sorts of ambition. You can see it with the awards that we've won. We submitted for 6 or 8 awards this year. So hopefully in the next couple of months, I will know a little bit more if they felt like we were award worthy. I think by eliminating any defeatist attitude, you can focus on winning. I try to focus on winning. I try and focus on doing something better, and really identifying what needs to be changed in the future. Like I said before, I have an entrepreneurial spirit within the planning or economic development, which is kind of a rare commodity, where a lot of people get tied into this box. This code says this. You have to understand why. You have to say where should it be going? What should it say? And that kind of fits into my what my future plans. I don't just want to go somewhere because that's the best place. I've not exactly taken the easy path. Working in smaller rural communities, and taking leadership roles at national organizations versus focusing more on the local, trying to do something different, do something better. But no, 5 years, I still see staying in economic development.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to share a little bit about your career, what you do for the Regional and City Planning program here at OU. You've done so much for Oklahoma already, and I'm excited to see your work continue and grow.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Gibbs Spotlight. Tune in next time to hear more stories from the Gibbs College of Architecture.